I decided to try to make a salt pig. Well, what the world is that? My daughter is a foodie. Does a lot of cooking. Writes about food. And so is her hubby. So she said, Dad, I want a salt pig. I said, what the world is a salt pig? So she tried to explain it to me and all this. So I decided, okay, but then I have to do it on 2 axes, right? So this is the salt pig. So if you're going to turn it this way, how are we going to get the other way? And I fought with that, and fought with that, and fought with that. So finally I said, well, that's kind of dumb. So I decided to just turn it this way. Then I said, I don't know, how much does it need to be turned up? Oh, about that much. And I took a pencil, drew around the bottom, took it over to the sander, sanded it off. I got a salt pig. So it's pretty nifty because the ladies that do a lot of cooking love it on their countertop. They just reach in, get a little bit of salt their food. You know how much? Well, you bought this much is what they not like to have. So I made this one first, and of course it was too small. And Edna said, "No, that's the pepper pig." So when I made this, I made it a little too thin. And so when I sanded it off here, it got very thin. So I said, well, that's all right. I just put a base on it. Now, it's not round. So I said, well, that means that it's handmade. So I messed with it a little bit. So I found this piece. This is, I believe it's some of that peach that Bill and I got over in South Carolina. So I decided I'm going to try it. Now, I think it's still too wet because I tried to test it here a while ago, and it comes up to about, well, it tops out at over 20, 22. So it's too wet, but we may get away with it by going ahead and hollowing it and then letting it dry, as long as we're uniform all the way around. Now, I don't know, but that's my argument. It doesn't always work, but it works sometimes. If it's not too wet, as long as it's even, then it should dry evenly. Plus, it also helps when you don't have the pith in it, the center of the log. Now, this one does have that, so who knows? Maybe this is just an exercise in futility, but we'll just mess with it anyway. So I decided to try it tonight, and we're going to make a bunch of dust for you, Dave. I guess we can clean it up. Well, how big is it? So I said, I'll just cut an 8-inch round piece. I just took a compass and made it 10 inches around this way and 8 inches on the inside, and then it gives you some kind of a gauge as to where you're going. And it's not totally accurate. If you really want to be accurate, then you want to make a equator, then you come out part ways, what is it, to 45 degrees or something, then you cut down another distance, and there's calculations for that and everything else. Since it's this kind of thing, I think it makes it more interesting to have it a little bit more random. So if it's not quite right, in this case, we're not going to fuss. So I'm just going to get it on the chuck here in a minute, and then do a little hollowing and mess with that a little bit. So it's not too bad. When you're hollowing, I tell the students, you got mountaintops and you got valleys. All you want to take is the mountaintops off. So just hold your tool at one spot, and then you can rotate, use the tool rest as a fulcrum, and then you just gradually come in close to it so that your tool doesn't bounce like that. If your tool is bouncing like that, you're not getting anywhere. So I like to hold it. You can get a little more aggressive. But if you just go slow, you can get it nice and round pretty quick. See, now we're pretty close around. We've got some defects in there, but in the middle there we're pretty close around. Then as soon as you can handle it, speed it up because it makes it so much easier. Cutting down here a little bit because I think my circle it's going to be smaller than this, but I think my circle is going to be down in here, so I really don't need all of this. I could maybe part that off or something, but if I take a little bit of this off and then go down in here, I think I'll be all right. And of course this defect maybe we'll end up making that the hole. But we'll see as it develops, and see how it goes. But don't be scared about having something a little out of round. Slow down to start with. As soon as you can, speed up because it's so much easier. I want to put it on the chuck. If this little dovetail shape here will bite there properly, then it'll hold so much better. I think that will do it. I think I can put it on the chuck there. And how many of you use gloves when you're turning? Got several. I like to use them. These are cheap gloves. I think I got this at, what's that discount tool place? Okay. Yeah, I think I got them for like $3 a pair or something. I don't know. And I love them. Because I guess with blood thinner and stuff, it just makes it harder to keep the blood from flowing. Ah, that's nice. And another thing is, some people will lock the quill down here. I have not found very many times that this ever works loose. I like to keep it loose because I can reach over and just tighten it up. Some people lock that down. Then you got to loosen it to tighten it. Keep it loose so you can just touch it and you're tight. That's my opinion for what it's worth. Okay, so let's see if we can work a little more on it. That's what a bowl gouge is supposed to do. If you're not using your bowl gouge, why, use it. It doesn't look too far off. It's not over a mile. So, again, this is going to be maybe a little too big the way it is there. So I might have to take it down a little more. close. Okay, now let's see. This holds pretty good, huh? Okay. Now we'll get into the hollowing. One thing trick I've found is you want to drill a hole in the middle sometimes. It really helps. In this case, this doesn't really work too well right now. It's going to be a little bit off center. But what I normally do, just a second and I'll show you better. One thing I think that is going to happen is, since we're so far out here, we might have more of a chance to have some vibration in it. So we might have to shorten this. Okay, especially in smaller objects, I just took a drill bit, fit it in a little handle, and now I can go ahead and find the center. And don't do it like that. Push it a little too hard. And in smaller objects, what I find is I can mark it here and go in and drill it the depth I want. Then I know how far I want to hollow it. And in this case, it should be a larger bit for this, but you'll get the idea. So now I'm in halfway almost. So you can see that, and especially for smaller objects, that really helps a lot. It's simple and easy, it's fast. The kids learn to use it and they love it. So it works out pretty nice. And to start out with hollowing, I usually... You want to take that tailstock off of it? No, it's okay. I usually use this. This is a Sorby bit. The handle broke off. It was a gift to me by a friend of mine, and you can almost drill on its own straight in with this. then just a little bit on the side. That starts the hollowing process. See, on the cutting edge is here. Cutting edge is out here. And this shoulder here is what hits and doesn't allow it to go straight on in. So if you just do a little bit of a sideways thing, that makes room for it to slide right on in. Works real nice. I have already on my other one gone and taken this corner off a little bit. Then you really can drill. This is not going to be too deep. In fact, it's not going to be quite deep enough. And once we get a little bigger hole, then I can go right on down in and use the spindle gouge again. I'm using this for a specific reason. I teach the kids, if you don't have a chuck to put on here and a nice extension, then you say, how am I going to do it? So I teach them you can do it with a regular tool. And then if they happen to get the other, then they can use it and it'll work fine. But you can see I'm in there quite a ways now. And so now let's just say center this up a little bit more. A little bit off.
Oh yeah.
Again, if I take the time to take this down, then I'd be a little shorter throw here, so it probably wouldn't vibrate as much. So let's try it again. Go in a little more. Then I want to try to use several different hollowing tools. Test them out. reach it with this, I can hollow most all of a small bowl there. If I get to this depth over here, then I can't quite reach it. So what I want to do now is look at some different tools and see what y'all think. Now some of you have tried all kinds of tools, and you know which end is up. But not all of us have, so I decided I'm going to try several other tools. At the Charlotte Woodturners one day, there was a guy selling these. And it's a pretty nice tool. It's a carbide, I believe, on top. I don't remember the name of the guy who made them, but they were available for 30 bucks. So I picked it up real quick. So let's try this. And now that I've got the middle gone, number one, you gotta stay right at 9 o'clock. Don't go 10, don't go 8, don't go 8:30, 9:30. Stay at 9. And then just work your way in. That's working loose again, isn't it? Maybe I should turn a little bit slower. Try that. So we'll just bring it around. Should have done a little more there.
Yeah, no, it's working in
Where's my tool here? Now, looks like we gained us about at least 1 3/4 inches, I think. So if you're scared about working with, not quite right on that one. Here, I know what I'll do. I'll make it right. Tailstock is wonderful safety. Just trim that up a little bit so that it now it'll bite much better. There. I bet I gained 2 inches. Okay. Oh. Stayed right in there. Isn't that nice? I like to take that out. It's a little easier on the elbow. And then I'll try another one. Faster. Well, I'm over here.
Camera shooting through the mat.
Okay. Now let's try the termite. The termite is angled this way and there's a cutting edge on both sides. And the way you sharpen it is you put it over a router and you go around, you turn it over and you go around this way. And it's interesting, you do your cutting in this angle. You don't do it here. So it's kind of like a scrape and a cut the way it seems to me. So you bring it in straight, vertical. I've got it marked here at the vertical orientation. So I go in there straight up, then I rotate it. Now my feeling is this thing is cutting much better than that other one did. I like the other one in some situations, but this one really is pretty nice. So now let me try another one. This is a beast. And this has a very, very tiny exposure to the cutting edge, maybe a little bit more than the thickness of your thumbnail, but not much. And if you loosen this and slide it back, or rotate this and slide it forward, it'll expose this more. I picked this up last fall, and I've messed with it several times, and I say, the more I use it, the more I think I like it. Now, one thing they say is you should, if it's 8 inches in diameter or less, then you can run it more than 600 RPM. But if it's, did I have it wrong?
You're right.
And if it's 8 inches or more, then you should run it less than 600 RPM or less, because your travel of the wood is so much faster. So you got to slow it down. So you really have very little pressure on doing this thing. Very little pressure. Now it has worked loose again a little bit. And that's always a problem when you get into hollowing and you get vibrations. But don't let it discourage you. You just stay on top of it. There it is. Okay. In this case, I got to stay out a little bit so I don't hit this on the tool rest. That sucker cuts, and it's so thin. Now I'm at about right at 600. I think this has moved a little bit. Dave, you wouldn't happen to have a star. which one do you vote for?
Oh, yeah.
That thing cuts.
Yeah.
You had your air hose run along the back of it,
Yeah,
and
right.
blow that stuff out.
Air hose right
Well, now we don't want to make it too easy.
I'm always thinking about making it easier.
Yeah.
A friend of mine told me, said, Ed, you spend more time trying to make it easy than you do it, you go ahead and do it.
Hey, I'm for that.
That guy that said, no, it's just a diameter unless you
Now see, I'm nice and thick. A little thicker right in the equator there. And I'm almost halfway done. Now this I made several years ago with just a piece of a nice steel rod, and I sharpened it at about an angle like that. You don't want more of very much of an angle, just enough so that when you go around the curve you can still cut. As you can see, you don't need much exposure for it to cut. So I'll go inside right now and do a little bit of this edge. And it's not quite in the middle, so it wants to rotate on me some. So I need to heat it up a little bit and do it again. But it's a little hard to reach around the corner there with this beast. It's pretty big for a little squirt like me. They called me a shrimp in high school for a reason. Okay. And Tim isn't here, is he?
No.
Let's just check to
Aren't
see.
you getting a little thin where this oil part is over here with the bark?
Well, it might open up.
It's an easy
Got a
way to
plan
get
for
the
that.
chips out.
No, I'm still that yeah, I'm still that thick right there. So I think I'm in fine shape. If I go all the way there, see, I'm quite a ways away from it right now yet. But that doesn't say anything, you never know. Okay, I can take this off, can I, Dave? Now Tim made one of these, but he's got a laser on it. And so he's a lot fancier. But I'm thinking about it. And this was mostly done, I bought this, and the rest of the stuff I had on hand. So I said, that's what I like, just whatever you got on hand. That way you don't have to spend money you don't have. And then what I did here is I drilled it, then I took the drill and just cut it off and sharpened it and left it right in there. How can you get better than drill rod, right? So now I need to come up to the center. And I can go around the corner a little bit. I need to get this off so that if I get to a smaller piece that I can go around the corner easier. So let's give it a whirl. Can you see? see a lot of shavings come out, but there's a lot of them inside there. And it comes out little smaller shavings, but I just have a light, very light touch. It's not a hard touch at all. So it's coming out in fine shavings, real fine. But if you don't hit hard, it seems that they keep right on going. There. Now let's just see where we are. See, we're still at the lowest point there. I still got 3/4 of an inch. And I'm past the equator, but I'm real wide there. The middle is right there. So I think that really does nice. But maybe the big bar would do it a little faster.
That must be cherry.
Again, I got much bigger shavings. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say, well, this is the best Halloween tool, or I really like this. Compared to what? So I have a little hard problem with that, so I said, well, let's do some investigating. Now, I'm out of my center. Probably can't find it. almost there. Now, let's have a little discussion. What do you think? Never work.
Who makes that one?
The one you just did.
Yeah. It's a Thompson handle, but, I think Craft Supplies.
Is it a crayon?
Maybe it's, yeah, it's a Crown. I'm sorry, it's a Crown.
Will your hammer go through that T-bar there?
Yeah,
Well, just put it on there, it won't be kicking up.
that's true, that's true. Let's check this. And that's the advantage of that. It's a lot more stable. It's a lot more stable. So if you want stability, see now, which way am I going? This is a little wider here than it is here. So if I want to go more here, then I bring it out this way. If not, I bring it out this way, then I can go more in the center and come over. And earlier that was a little bit of my problem, that I couldn't go quite far enough. Maybe if I move it a little bit closer, I have a little more leverage too. So let's try it again. Oops. And I'm thinking that Tim's idea was pretty good, of having a laser come up here and shine straight down at the cutting edge. Then you can see real close and you don't have to stop and measure it. But you gotta stop and empty the shavings out anyway, so. Don't have to fight it. What's your idea, Ed?
A friend of mine used to use lard doing metal work. You put
Lard?
lard on it, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, make it smooth.
Oh,
We used to grind
Where's your
aluminum.
that's
50
the,
Flacco, it had to be Crisco. That's a fact. When I was an apprentice, I was doing that. I was
Really?
Flacco, was vegetable oil, you know, that. Cutting metal, yeah, that's that
I not heard of that.
Sure smooth it up.
Okay, I can reach the middle now. with barely hitting here. So let's see. Get less vibration. I wouldn't have to stop if I'd have a laser on there to measure, because I don't want to get it too narrow. Okay, here, I'll do it this way so you can see it. So I'm 5/8. Wait a minute, there. Well, I'm still 3/4, then it starts getting fatter and fatter. See, and I'm real fat there yet. Let's try it again. Boy, I still got a lot of stuff in there. And I don't put a lot of pressure on this. It just eats it away.
That articulated one you were using, how many positions have you used it in?
Pardon?
How many positions have you used it in? A lot, move it around, or you just about locked in one place?
You gotta keep it pretty close in the center. See, now that one has worked its way back again a little bit. But because if it's not in the center, then it wants to rotate on you.
If you make up one with those dimensions and weld it together, would that be all right?
Yeah, you could, but I think it's just maybe I need to sand it a little bit or something. Maybe it's a little too smooth. I'm not sure. I'm not too worried about it at this point. Of course, I haven't used it a lot. But I wanted 3/4 inch here, and they didn't make it at that. So I guess a guy could take and put 3/4 inch on, but I had to just make this adapter because I bought a 3/4 inch handle in order to do that. get that chatter when I put too much pressure on. I didn't know there was that much wood inside one of those.
Most, when you're cutting a chainsaw, like you want to rip a log, if you stand the chainsaw up and down, you pull back sawdust. If you lay it down, it pulls back shavings. So, when you put
Like this versus this?
like if you put your saw like this,
Yeah,
everything is sawdust. When you lay it out like this, everything shaves.
so that's kind of the same thing that happened here.
I tell people that, and they say, how do you know that? I say, cause I was on a chainsaw. If you can get it and lay it out flat, you can cut so much faster because we're pulling the long shavings out. That's the same thing there. I don't know how it relates to all that, you know. So I reckon the way the tools approaching the wood.
I don't know. Now, I'm not far from being done there, so, and I don't necessarily need to completely finish it here because I wanted you to see the differences in the hollowing tools, because you see what we ended up with in the end, and you see how we're going to do it in order to get that way. So let me try a little bit more here. There I'm still too thick, but there I'm getting close. So I just need a little bit more on the end, and what I should have done is drilled it a little deeper. Should have had my chuck and then just any kind of spade bit or anything. The more secure, the more stable you have that bit, the better you're off. Because then after a while it gets to wandering a little bit. But if you can drill it down to right where you want it, then you shouldn't have any problems finishing it out with any of these tools. But I've lost my center now, so it's a little hard to kind of get going right in the center. Okay. So, project. So, now you got any questions on making this? Basically, you just hollow it, part it off, and I want to do any sanding inside before I take it off, because it's just ridiculous to try to do it later on. Sand on the outside, complete it, finish it completely.
What are you finishing?
I tell you what I like to use is sanding sealer. I just use plain sanding sealer that seals everything. Then if I have any cracks that I need to fix, then it won't stain it. Then I lightly sand it with 400 or 600 and spray a satin or gloss lacquer on it. So, or polyurethane is wonderful, it's very durable. But on this one, I just sanded it, it's fairly decent here. And I didn't put anything on the inside at all. On the outside, I just did sanding sealer again. Because it being food safety, I wanted to try to care. Now, one thing that I've started using is plain mineral water. It doesn't stain it or anything, it'll darken it. And this, I use plain mineral water. It makes a difference?
Yeah.
You like it a lot?
I've used it over the years, and I burned it in at very high speeds, and it comes out very nice.
I like it. And there, at the North Carolina Symposium, there was a guy from France there, and he said, they called it something else. He said, here in the States, you call it mineral water. But it's food safe. I mean, Mom used to give that as a laxative. So, hey, it's safe. Well, to a degree.
Just didn't want to go too far.
So then just, okay, let's say we got it completely done, and I just bring it out and figure out where I want it, and take a marker and mark it. And then I know where to sand it, and keep it nice and flat. This one is a little smaller than there, maybe I should make it a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
I think probably just a little bit bigger would be better. So, that one may end up being okay after all, even with all the imperfections.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's really makes
They, that's what they
sense.
mowed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's ironic that I saw it in woodworking magazine today, and they were doing almost the same thing, except they were putting 2 balls or 3 balls of knitting yarn. And then they made holes to bring it back out.
oh yeah.
And they made curving holes, so the yarn would feed through. And then woman's knit, she takes and puts her 3 balls there, she can get it. Now they had some name for it, it's almost the same product.
That's neat.
Yeah, that'll work. It'll work nice.
Yeah.
AAW journal, these things. And it works pretty nifty. I got another one around here somewhere. I thought I had salt and pepper shaker deal. Might not go in. No, okay, I'll just use it the other direction. This was in the Woodworker Journal, and so I thought that's kind of a neat idea. It's different, so I decided to try it. And what you do, you don't need a lot of wood. So you turn something, you put some kind of design on, any design you want. So in this case, I have it about, where's my caliper? Make it any size you want, as I said. And in order to match this one, this is the salt. So I want to make the pepper about the same size. Now what I do is I hollow it out. Do you have an air hose right here?
Hanging right there, I think.
Press the
Air
button.
compressor.
Oh, right in front of my nose.
The air compressor,
And-
that's the on.
Then you make something like this, except it needs to be hollowed here, so it's like a funnel. And you make it nice and tight.
I got to turn the air on. Compressor's probably going to come on. It'll be loud for a minute.
It's just snug. It just fits in there. Top is flat. Inside is now this being a fairly soft wood, you can cut fairly fast. If you're not using beads sometimes, you're missing them. Try to do beads, and they're real simple. You start in the middle, and you cut like this, and you turn your tool and push in. Then you go to the same spot, and you do the same thing. Now you got your round part. Mine needs a little bit of smoothing there. Then you take your tool and turn it sideways, and you bring, let's say here's the round part. Then you bring your tool at this angle, and you cut a angle in there that's like this on each side. Then it's nice to make, at the tip of that angle, make a little swoop down. So if you look at it that way, that's what I'm trying to do here. You go down in and stop. You go down in and stop. Then you take this angle and go in and make that a sharp angle. It's a little bit sharper than what you get without doing it like that. And then bring it like that away from it, and I already got it on this side. So you can see that it's a pleasing thing. Make beads. It's wonderful. You can't put it on everything, but it sure is nice. Okay, now I want to make it about the same length. Okay. So, again, I can do it without drilling it, but I love to drill it. Now here, that's a little too far, so I got a mark right there, and that's probably about right, and then I'll put a little dome on it. Maybe I'm a little bit high on it. There. Just stayed off the edge of that a little bit. And I know how deep to go. That's my lip where this will fit into. making making a little room there, so I have a little volume on the salt, or the pepper in this case. I'm gonna check it here, but I don't think that, I need to go much more. See, I'm pretty thin. A little bit fatter right in there, which is okay, because now I'm starting to make my dough. And I can make it a little bit, I think I can take this edge off a little bit. Boy, I can't take off much. I'll just smooth it out a little bit and call it quits. Okay. Okay, there's my dough. And that's pretty simple. Not much to it that way. So now I'll make something that'll make one of these that'll fit in there, but I have to hollow it first before I get it off. I can't do it any other way. It's a little hard to do it by hand. Okay. I'm not going to take time to sand it. Like Roland would say, sand, sand, sand. And I burned a black line on here, so I'll put a little groove in here and put white paint in it. And the salt, 1/8 of an inch is plenty. Probably 1/16 of an inch hole is all you need for the salt, but at least 1/8 of an inch for the pepper. So you don't need a lot. So now I'm finished here. I would go ahead and sand it and put the finish on it, part it off, I'm done. Okay, so now I'm going to quit on that and go the reverse and make the cone now. So, in your mind, that's done. So now I just get a small piece, here. And invariably, you get cracks in cedar. You get it, and it's a hassle. So you just got to be careful, because if you develop your piece, it's not gonna be a decent piece at the end, because it'll crack and you're gone. So you might as well just stop and do it right. Just get a piece that's good to start with, then you don't have that problem. The kids don't like that, because they work on it and get a little piece and they're goofed up. They get upset. I don't blame them. Where did I put the...
that piece?
Just a measure. Okay, I'm in fine shape. Yep, I'm plenty good. Plenty good. More better good. On the wall. Let's see where we are. Looks like I'm a little fat, which I want to stay that way. So when that piece comes back, then I'll, oh, is it here? Okay. So I'll go ahead and check.
Mo, you don't glue yours in?
No, just make it nice and snug. In fact, I've got it perfect right now. I can't believe it. It looks like it's just about the way exactly well. Now I want to smooth the end up.
And she filed it in the waste can.
Make some. Let's go ahead.
I drilled just part of the way up. See, I'm that deep now, so it's really not important here, that shape or anything, but this shape, then you can't go too narrow on it or it'll break off, but you give you a little bit more room here if you take some more out. That's just about right. Okay, so if it goes in like that, then I've got that much to the peak. So I'm that far off the peak right now to there. So I want to make it a little bit shorter than that.
How much
Not-
space you need to do there, Mo?
Oh, you don't need much. I like to see closer to a half an inch, but it's not real critical.
Oh,
Now, I'm betting on that about right there. And if I measure it like this, see, and I'm at least half an inch. So I could go a little bit more than that maybe, but it's not that important. So now, let's just double check. Now it looks like there's this lip on the inside here, I should have gone a little deeper. I've not cut it off, so I can't. So usually I test it before I cut it off. So that's real close to fitting there. And you want it snug so that you can take it out, but that it won't fall out. So I think I'm ready to part it off, and you can drill that by hand, but if you do have, I don't have a small drill bit here, but it'd be real easy now to just put a little drill bit in there and drill it. I start with a 1/16 of an inch and see how it works for salt. Start with an 1/8 of an inch and see how it works for pepper. So let me go ahead and part this off. There. And by the way, that piece, if you got a piece at least that long, it's wonderful to make one of those necklaces that Joe Rominski was talking about last week. I did one today. I was going to bring it along, and I ended up not bringing it for some crazy reason. I think it was Bill Carley. Yeah, I can't make it any bigger. Not even a skosh. If you know what a skosh is. But I'm just going to take that shoulder up a little bit. Well, it's still hitting. Where?
Can't do it, you don't have your hole drilled. Hey, Mark, you don't have your hole drilled in there. You don't have your hole drilled in the center.
Now it ought to work. White. Yeah, that's what we need, more hot air. Maybe I have it a little too tight. I think this is tapered a little bit. I think that may be my problem. There we go. I think. I cracked it. Okay. Yep. So now, you can make it real easy. It's not much, you don't need a lot of, nothing, no fancy, no special tools or anything. It's pretty simple, make a great Christmas gift. So, okay.